Creating a slideshow in Photoshop. The first one is a strictly projectionable presentation that you yourself will have to talk over when presenting to a class or, if need be, a client or an employer. In this case, you will undoubtedly want to create a script to talk from so that you don't lose your way. The second will be a similar version with the added benefit of capturing type and placing it directly into the presentation. This allows the presentation to talk for itself, and your final output will be a PDF document that you can easily send to a client or a potential employer. In that case, you will want to very carefully consider what you want to say and add it as necessary. More on that in the next presentation. So then, let's get started. I'm going to be using an example of an existing project here, and it is on a design project that I worked on about 17 years ago. It was for the Louisiana Arts and Science Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The folder containing the images is simply marked LASC, as you can see here. In your case, I want you to put together your presentation from the work that you have been doing for this class, all of the rough sketches and final artwork. Once inside the folder, you can see that I have about 16 different images, including both the front panel and the back panel. You should think about creating both a front and a back panel for your presentation as well. It makes your presentation look more professional. Now I'm going to open Photoshop. Once I open Photoshop, I want to set the width of my slideshow presentation to 11 inches wide and a height of 8.5 inches. I then set my resolution to 150 dpi. This is important. You want these specific sizes so that when you transfer your images to both InDesign and Premiere, you won't have to go through a lot of effort resizing everything. Now I'm grabbing the first image from my LASC file and inserting it into Photoshop. I am doing this as a simple drag and drop from the image file. When the image comes in, notice that it has this X through the image. This lets you know that what you're doing is transferring an image into Photoshop. Photoshop is interpreting that image as a smart object. At this point, this is fine. We will change this here in a moment. But first we need to pull all of our other images into the presentation. First you have to allow Photoshop to place the image. Then you can move on to the next image. You can also highlight all of the images in the file and move them all at once. The only difference will be that you will have to allow each one of them to place, and as you do this you will see them appear in the layers palette on the right hand side. Here I've moved along very near the end of my slide presentation. I am at image 14. Note that the descriptions come with each image. This is good when you're doing a slideshow presentation as it helps you in your writing of your script. Thus it's a good idea to organize your images carefully and add brief descriptions of what they are before you get to the point of creating your slideshow. Once you have all the images placed into the slideshow, note that a small icon exists on the lower right hand corner of each image in the layers palette. This indicates that they are indeed smart objects. In order to edit them, resize them, or do anything else with them, you'll have to rasterize them. To do this, highlight the entire stack in the Layers palette and either select from the Layers and then rasterize, or you can simply do a right click with your mouse and go to Rasterize Layers. Once they are rasterized, they will now all be editable. You can now begin the task of resizing them and adding a common background layer behind each one. This will be important not only for the continuity of your slideshow, but also when you go to import these images into InDesign and Premiere. I'll demonstrate how to do this in class, but for now you at least have the basics on how to get your images all put into the Photoshop slideshow.